It's first thing in the morning on a misty dawn in Scotland, and we're up at this time because we are going to go over the sea to Skye. We're going to walk across the bridge that's back there to Skye, which is the island here. And actually, I can't believe it, but I'm pretty excited. I've decided that I want to be the sort of person who builds up an appetite for breakfast with a bracing morning walk. I'm not that sort of person, but I'm trying it out today. And that's helped by the fact that I have a takeaway cup of tea with me, which they thankfully handed to me as I got off the train. It's also helped by the extraordinary beauty of my surroundings. Unexpectedly, our first sight is actually of an old World War II mine that was found floating about in the sea, waiting to blow up a ship. And it's now a charity collection box, so it has a happier life now. We've made it to the bridge. Now, wasn't this worth the early start? Sunrise. See, I told you it was early. Speed, bonny boat, like a bird on the wing. Onwards the sailors cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king over the sea to Skye. Loud the winds howl, loud the waves roar, thunderclaps rend the air. Baffled our foes stand by the shore, follow they will not dare. Speed, bonny boat, like a bird on the wing, onwards the sailors cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king over the sea to Skye. Here we are. My feet are on the Isle of Skye. Sadly, I can't stay. We have to briskly walk back so that we don't miss the train leaving. There was quite a controversy when the bridge was first built because it was built as a toll bridge. So the islanders had to pay to get over to the mainland, and they weren't even sure that they wanted the mainlanders coming so easily to the island. But the locals say that there was one enterprising farmer who kept a sheep around here, and he would hire it to anyone going in a car over to the mainland, so the toll would be much less. And at the other end, someone else would pick up the sheep and pay less coming back. I love that story. And over there on the mainland is the Campbell where the train is stationed. It's the northwesterly most train station in the UK. And we're walking back all the way along this huge bridge, across the bridge over there, and back to Kyle. We have immediately got to start really at a brisk clip back. It's a hefty walk, but I brought my walk survival kit, a wee dram of whiskey and my inhaler. But here, halfway across the bridge, I feel it's the whiskey that's called for. That just feels right. That's the breakfast car. And we have earned that, haven't we? Yeah, oh yes. Magical. So gorgeous. It's beautiful. And now a full Scottish breakfast. But also just look at where this train station is, right on the water. It doesn't get much better than that. To be fair, it seems to be more than a train station. The Kyle Harbour, boats and trains. Now, you don't see that very often. We've come straight to the breakfast car, which has got a pretty glorious view today with the sunrise over Kyle of Loch. In my 2-course breakfast, I'm starting the day with porridge with brown sugar and lashings of cream. But surely after that walk I do deserve it. Well, if the walk hadn't been a reward in itself, the breakfast definitely would have been. And what makes it a Scottish breakfast rather than English breakfast is the addition of haggis and black pudding, which I love.
And the potato cake.
Is there a potato cake? Oh, I didn't notice a little potato cake. Nestled under the bacon. We're on the move, off for a spot of shopping actually this morning. Crazy though it sounds, I realised the one thing this breakfast needed to make it truly perfection was dessert. So I'm going for a little bit of marmalade on toast, and you were my leader in this, Marie. You're very wise. And deeply embarrassingly, whilst we're tucking into massive quantities of food, Philip's just having a little avocado on toast.
I'm not feeling very well.
I'm so sorry, you've been sick every day so far, but I think the worst is behind you. You look as though you're turned a corner. Oh, and that's Plockton, the little village where we went for a drink last night. This has got to be one of the most beautiful train routes in the world. It's not a bad backdrop backdrop for breakfast. You are camouflaged against the autumnal background, Philip. I can almost not see you're there. But this is your season, your country, your colours. We're about to arrive in Beauly, and we're going to go to a shop there called Campbell's of Beauly, which has been in business since the 19th century and it still has its original shop fittings. I'm expecting a heaven of tartan and cashmere. We've got a beautiful day for this outing. This is the bus that takes us to our excursions from the train. Goodness, it's magnificently sunny today. We've just arrived at Campbell's. And I have already spotted my favourite thing in the shop, which is a jerry can, which is a secret hidden whiskey bar. Philip, I think you may have come to your spiritual homeland.
I like that one. Second one from the top.
We've been handed champagne. Cheers. Philip's like a child in a sweet store.
It's right at home.
It's an absolute heaven of Harris tweed, which is pretty much Philip's favourite fabric on the planet. Oh, and thick cardigans. It's an autumnal wonderland. Philip has already chosen something for me. He is insisting that he gets me the strawberry jumper. Are you sure about the strawberries? Yeah. You love this jumper. It's so geeky. The strawberry shoes. Okay, all right. We've been ushered into one of the back rooms where the tailoring happens because Campbell's is really famous. It's known for its tailoring. There are many big estates around here and they tailor the clothes for the estate workers. And they've held the royal warrant for a long time now because they had a warrant from the Duke of Windsor, from the Queen Mother, the late Queen, the Prince of Wales, who is now, of course, King Charles. So they have a very long-running royal warrant, which shows the quality and the tradition of the clothing here. Because if you think about it, all of these different tweeds, they act as a camouflage. When people go hunting in the countryside, everyone can blend into the murky colours of nature, which is presumably why you love tweed as much as you do. But anyway, Philip is interested in having a kilt made, which is why we've been ushered in here, and you can see the process of how that happens.
So this is your waist, and when you wear your kilt will sit into the waist.
Perfect.
It shouldn't sit too low. Traditionally, kilts can sit a little bit higher if they're military kilts, but we don't need to do that. We'll just put them in the standard place, which is right in here, so right in there.
I guess you don't need many measurements for a kilt, do you?
3 measures. And do you know which tartan you're having?
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any favourite colours?
Anything autumnal.
Yeah.
As you can see from today's outfit.
24 3/8. Perfect. Okay. So we'll have a wee look at the books now. You've got 2 options. The first is to have a medium weight option. This means that each individual warp and weft thread is actually a little bit finer, so the set becomes a little bit smaller and is a little bit neater. Mm-hmm. Your other option is to go for a strome or a heavyweight, which means each individual warp and weft thread is a little bit heavier, so the set is a little bit wider.
Okay.
I get you to have a look at the weathered ones, because these ones are more...
Those are the warm ones.
These are the warmer ones. These are, as you can see, they're all roughly the same sort of hue. And then there will be some muted ones as well. So that's a heavyweight one. It will basically be a case of flicking and seeing if there is anything that you like. The Buchanan ones are quite nice. In the weathered, if you want to go a bit more adventurous. So we have ancient, modern, muted, weathered, and there'll be various. Yeah, there's quite a few to choose from. Right. So I would advise that you just have a quick flick through, see if any of them, like any of them take your fancy, just colour wise. Okay. So these are the muted ones.
After a great deal of study,
several books of tartans.
Yeah, I want to show the world.
Well, there were 2 that I really liked. So this is one of them.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Murky, autumnal, even more autumnal.
And I think it's got to be that one.
It's got to be that.
It's the first one I saw and the first one I liked.
Are you loving that just because it's exactly what you're wearing right now in tartan form?
I suppose that's why I love it. But also I've got so many things that go with it, I think that one's going to be very easy.
And you're just going to wear this on a normal day?
Yeah.
This is just new wear.
Why not?
Philip goes kilt. Well, Philip insisted on getting me the strawberry jumper, and I've got this wrap for my friend that we're going to stay with after the train trip. We were at school together and she's a mother of my goddaughter, and I think they'll like the little bunnies. And now Philip's run over the road, of course, into the antique shop. Philip's just got back to the coach and he's so happy. He's got a huge book on Royal Copenhagen porcelain. This is really beautiful. Nice find, Philip. To Mary from AHC, wishing her a Merry Christmas 1920.
Isn't that amazing?
That's lovely. I wonder if Mary loved it as much as you do. It seems impossible. Thank you.
You want as well, Philip?
I'm alright, thank you.
We've got whiskies as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not whiskey.
So Edgedour make the cream, but they also do a standard whiskey.
What's the nightcap one?
So that's non-alcoholic.
Oh, never mind.
So yeah, you're not interested in that. There we go. There for yourself.
Thank you so much. Enjoy.
Thanks. Cheers, darling. That's a great morning. I've changed into my new strawberry jumper and I'm heading for lunch. The greatest challenge on this train is managing to keep up with the sheer amount of eating and drinking. Thank you so much. Lunch is a charcuterie and cheese platter with olive oil, balsamic vinegar, lots of salads, and the most incredible focaccia. We've arrived to visit Ballindalloch Castle, known as the Pearl of the North, and unique because it's owned by the same family who built it.
My ancestors arrived here in 1457, but it was not until the middle years of the 16th century that they decided to build a castle, a fortified house. And they started to try and build it a kilometre away on the side of a hill with a stream protecting another side. You put your castle on top of a hill because you needed to protect it. They tried to build the castle a couple of times and the walls fell down. In the wind that blew down the walls the second time, the fairy folk were heard to say, build it in the Kuhol, the cow's meadow, i.e. the flat ground down here next to the river over there, totally undefendable. So that's what they did. We were very lucky basically to survive and not be destroyed by marauding enemies.
Well, I did mention it's getting dark very early in Scotland. We haven't even been inside yet, and already night is falling, but I cannot wait to look around the rooms here. As we walk in, there's a magnificent armorial shield just above the door, and there are two dates on it. You're going to have to take my word for it. 1546 and 1850, which makes it almost exactly the same period as Lalande. 1500s and 1800s. Same. As we walk into the hall with its spectacular ceiling that was added in the 1850s, you start to see all of the furniture that the Macpherson Grants have collected over the course of centuries. And it's beautiful to be in a home like this, where every single thing you look at has been purchased by members of the same family and added to over generations. Is this making you feel at home, Philip? Bit of Dutch marquetry. It's interesting to see the Dutch marquetry here, quite big and bold, and then next to the very delicate English marquetry in the corner. I love both. I think maybe I'm more drawn to the Dutch, actually.
Me too. Well, clearly.
This is the current laird of the castle as a page boy to Queen Elizabeth II. And I must say, one of the things I've fallen in love with already on this tour of Scotland is tartan carpet. I think it is the most perfect form of carpet one can find.
I love the chickens.
Philip has walked into heaven. Look at those chickens indeed. Spectacular porcelain. The parents and grandparents of the current laird completely restored the chateau and made it so comfortable and a real home rather than a fortified castle. This room sums that up perfectly. And we've fallen in love with this bit of upholstery. The fabric with the swans.
I should do that. Or
Of
someone.
Lalande, you're going to start doing needlepoint.
Well, I had a needlepoint before, but not at that level.
Looking forward to seeing Philip's future needlework project.
That's gorgeous. I love that.
All of the paintings are members of the Grant family. So they're surrounded by their family photo album on the walls. And this is the smoking room. The smoking room is the room that the men would retire to after the meal to smoke and not disturb the ladies with their cigar smoke. Doesn't smell as though anyone smokes in here anymore, I'll be honest. Philip, look at the tiny porcelain desk.
Beautiful. Oh, there's more porcelain
Stunning.
commodes.
Oh, this is very, very exciting. Those commodes are actually tulip holders. and they're in the shape of little commodes. They were made in the 18th century, probably in France, and I have 2 back at Lalande that I'll show you when we get home. I'm very excited about them. They're going to live in the Grand Salon. And now we're going to go up this stone spiral staircase. Let's go and discover what's up at the top. Oh my goodness, it's the library. I've been longing to see the library. They have over 2,500 books. Again, it was added as part of the 1850s restoration. I dream of having a library back at home. This is spectacular. Imagine sitting here next to a fire on a cold winter's night with thousands of books to choose from. And now we're heading down the corridor. This is all Paris porcelain. Someone in this family had the same loves as you. We're in Lady Macpherson Grant's bedroom. And one of the things I love most in this absolutely gorgeous, comfortable, warm room is this 19th century ladies' travel chest, because it was discovered by the mother of the current owner in the attic, still wrapped in its original paper. It had never been opened, which really raises a lot of questions. How did something like that get stored away and never even opened?
The ceiling of this room was lowered by 4 feet.
4 feet?
When the 1965 renovation took place, with the current ceiling now hiding the intricate original plaster one above.
Oh, is that just so they could be warm? I did notice as soon as we walk in, it is so lovely and warm. And interestingly, in Scottish castles, we've noticed as we've been travelling around, almost every room is carpeted. Just makes it so snug and cosy. In France, it's almost always exposed wooden floors with rugs. I must say, this feels snugger. I have fallen absolutely in love with this wallpaper, and I think Philip has fallen in love with the room. It's a china pantry.
And I love that it's got a little border up top.
It's a delightful room. And it must be a lovely place to have a very intimate dinner. Now we're going up one of the original old spiral staircases, I think up to the 2nd floor. Oh, Philip, the guest bedrooms are beautiful. They're so comfortable.
I love the lamps.
Oh, look, wonderful bathrooms.
Yeah.
Just 2 generations ago, there was only 1 bathroom in the entire castle. And over the last 2 generations, they've tirelessly been adding to it. And I think they brought it to 9. So that Victorian hip bath, presumably, is what they would have been using, along with those washstands, before the creation of the bathrooms. Each room is delightful, so cosy, so British. I love those bed crowns, the lovely chintz. It looks as though, very wisely, they kept the children behind bars in the attic. Let's go and see if we can find the nursery. We've reached the nursery floor. Oh, well, it's a heaven. It's like a room from a fairy tale, with toys from every generation. And do you remember the portrait downstairs of Guy? This is the outfit that he wore when he was Page of Honour to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in 1981. Looking pretty chic there. And along this delightful corridor, we can have a peep into some more of the private bedrooms. These are all used. The castle is lived in by the current family. This is the Rose Room with the porcelain to match. Let's see what the next room's like. I think I like seeing the bedrooms best of all. They're all so inviting. Don't you just want to hang your clothes up in the wardrobe and get settled for the night? What a beautiful, beautiful home. And this grand staircase is part of the 1850s additions, because before that, they just had the steep stone spiral staircases, as we would have had at Lalande. And now we're in the original part of the castle. It was entirely redecorated in the 1850s, but this was the original Great Hall of the castle. Now it's the biggest room, it's the dining room, and the paintings of George III and his wife were given to this member of the family, General James Grant, for services rendered to the crown. He was actually the governor of Florida, and he went on to be governor of Havana, Cuba. He was a real bon vivant, and one of the wings of this castle was apparently built just to house the French chef that he brought back from Florida with him. I would love one. Thank you very much.
Whiskey
Whiskey
some
cocktail.
coffee, bitters, a bit of elderflower, an apple.
Fabulous.
Secret whiskies.
Cheers. Cheers. The tables are all laid for dinner, and I think we've just got a moment to go to the cabins first and get changed. We've got a Dover sole terrine with a caviar dressing. It looks absolutely delicious, and a lovely Riesling. Tonight's main course is local lamb, potatoes, but the thing I'm most excited about is the asparagus, because it's from Glamis Castle, the childhood home of the Queen Mother, and we're going to be visiting it tomorrow. Cheers all, it's another successful day in Scotland, and more adventures tomorrow. And until then, à demain. À demain.